Hey Tube, it's EvanMagician34, and these are the top 5 plus a couple of honorable mentions, but the top 5 cards from Magician's Force. Our 2 honorable mentions are Wave Motion Cannon and Royal Magical Library. Royal Magical Library, for every 3 spells you activate basically, or anybody activates, you draw a card. So this is basically a huge enabler for speed-based combo decks that'll go spell, 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 hey, and by the way I draw a card, and it helps them keep from losing card advantage. Like Turbo Exodia decks and whatnot have used this card quite nastily. If you've ever been on the receiving end of it, you know what I'm talking about. Wave Motion Cannon, on the other hand, is the other version of I'm not going to actually attack you, but I'm still going to kill you in a nasty way. It's a stall burn card, basically, but one of the most potent burn cards, pound for pound, ever printed. Just for every turn it's face up on the field, when you choose to fire it, it'll deal your opponent 1,000. Oh, and here's the kicker. It can't be negated once it's already been on the field. If they don't negate the initial activation, then the only way they can stop this thing is to destroy it outright before you choose to activate it. So it's an interesting card, and it can certainly deal a lot of damage. It feels like a waste sometimes to MST it, and it's that sort of game of chicken, who's going to fire it or destroy it first. Definitely one of the more powerful burn cards that enables stall-based burn decks really to exist. Alright, but coming in at number 5 for Magician's Force, Rivalry of Warlords. Yes, this card came from this set, and for a long time it was overlooked. I think the main reason is a lot of decks get hurt by it, so they can't use it to hurt opponents. But for anyone who's got a more or less tribal deck where they only use one type, it's a very potent way to lock out opponents and keep them from doing things. More now than ever, now that Synchro and Ixies are options in the game, the necessity to have multiple monsters on the field in order to accomplish your goals is that much more necessary, and this card can certainly help lock it out. Ranking in at number 4, My Body is a Shield, a very potent card. It acts like a counter trap in many ways, but it's a quick play spell, meaning you can play it from your hand. So you're defended during your turn from threats like Icarus Attack, Torrential Tribute, Mirror Force, and so on. And yes, it costs you 1,500, but it's that extra flexibility, meaning it didn't have to have been set for a turn like a trap, and you didn't run the risk of them destroying it during their turn with Mystical Space Typhoon or Heavy Storm or whatever. And you still have the option to set it, and whenever they try to do something to blow up your monster, flip and stop them. Very flexible, very versatile. You'd be surprised how many times people have been stopped by this card, or even just top decking this the turn you want to go off or something can be very potent. Ranking in at number 3, though, Breaker the Magical Warrior, one of the most classic +1s ever. He comes out, he gets a free counter, he's 1900 point beat stick. Solid right there, and he's dark, that's good. But you can pull off the counter and blow something up. And you still get to keep Breaker, so it's a free +1. For the longest time, this guy was limited to 1. He's come to 3 recently because the environment's changing, but you never know when it's going to shift back. And he'll still always be a +1 with a good-sized body to boot, and a good attribute, which makes him rank in at number 3. Number 2, speaking of free cards, Tribeinfecting Virus. 1600 point body, decent attribute and typing, but what's really important about this guy is he can discard cards endlessly, not just once per turn, but as often as you want, to destroy all monsters of a given type that you name. Very easy to, basically, in a lot of ways, this feels like the opposite of Rivalry of Warlords. Whereas this only supports one type, this thing punishes just one type. But basically, he's almost like a severely pumped Snipe Hunter in a lot of ways, even though he can't hit spells and traps. Very powerful, a great card to reanimate as well. He just wipes out virtually any monster, and he can do it again and again and again, and that makes him very worth a place here. But in case you hadn't already guessed it, ranking in at number 1, Magical Scientist, just blows most of the competition from this set out of the water. Remember how I keep telling you, open-ended abilities that don't have a limitation on how many times you can do it per turn are usually assigned as something very powerful? This guy is no exception. As long as you can keep paying that 1,000 life points, you can keep getting small fusion monsters. Well, level 6 or under. They can't attack directly, but they can still attack, so they can deal damage over smaller monsters. But more importantly, this guy is a very crucial combo enabler with things like Catapult Turtle. And that's the basic combo that he revolves around, is you just feed a bunch of monsters to Catapult Turtle and deal your opponent lethal damage all in one turn. If you don't know more about that combo, check it out on Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki. I'm not going to outline everything. But suffice it to say, there's a reason why a card with this kind of flexibility and openness is banned, especially now that you could Synchro or Xyz with this guy. I mean, you could pay 2,000, get 2 6-stars, and Xyz for 6. That'd be kind of nasty. But anyway, So those are the top 5 and a couple of honorable mentions for Magician's Force. So until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more cool videos and the rest of the videos in this series so far.